Avoiding the Texas hangover. That was the goal this week for Coach Mitch Hannes and his Sycamores, and they did just that, completing the sweep of Bradley Saturday at Bob Warren Field.
I felt like it was really important for us to come back this weekend and play well. I didn't feel like we had to sweep somebody. It's really hard to do. The ball's got to bounce your way, and we got some breaks. Ball dropped in here and there, and I know Bradley feels like we did last weekend. You're sitting there in all three games, and you go home losing all three, but you know you could have won every one of them.
Tofflin, Giesler, and Roselli went back-to-back on Friday night in Game 1. Tofflin, along with Clay Dungan, had a 2-run home run shot, the bottom of the 7th in the suspended Game 2, which pushed Indiana State to the 6-4 win. That meat of the order, mixed in with Tyler Freeze, causing nightmares for the Missouri Valley Conference.
I sliding a guy into that 2-hole that can run a fastball out of here. If Freeze is getting on base and they want to throw breaking balls, we'll still second. They've got to work and probably throw a few more fastballs, and if they make a mistake, Coughlin's liable to put it in the cemetery. So, and Giesler's been good all year in that 3-hole. Whether he's been 3 or 4, he's given us good at bats all year. He's been solid, very productive RBI guy. Tony has continued. He's been pitch tough. I mean, when you've been a guy that's been down in the order and all of a sudden you're thrust into the middle and you're seeing a lot of sliders, when typically you got fastballs when you were younger, but he's adjusted well and he's starting to do a better job when teams are feeding him slider, and sneaking a fastball in there. So, you know, those guys have progressed as front-end hitters, which we struggled with early in the year. You're just going to get pitched differently.
Speaking of the leadoff man, Tyler Freeze, he was raking in baseball terms on Saturday, combining 8 for 9 from the plate with 3 runs and an RBI. The biggest thing for Freeze, as he says, is just getting on base and allowing his brothers to bring him in. But Coach Hannes can expand on the importance of the man who wears number 3 in the blue and white.
He's going to play as good a defensive shortstop as anybody out there in the country. I mean, he's solid, makes the everyday play for us, and he's made it since he was a freshman. But I think there's a spark to him, there's a spunk to him when he's healthy and playing well at the top of that order that our club needs. And if anybody's watched us this year, the times he's been out, we've really struggled to fill that void in the leadoff spot.
We got that Dane Tofflin who's just tearing it up right now. Giesler has been swinging it well all year, and Tony. So if I'm on base, there's a good chance one of those guys is going to drive me in. It's great knowing those guys are going to come up and give you a good at bat almost every time up there. It makes you feel confident, makes your job easier, and that's what it's all about, is making it easier on the next guy.
In the nightcap on Saturday, Will Kincannon kept using his own cannon, allowing 1 earned run in his 8 strong innings. The last 4 games, to be exact, for Will, 27 1/3 innings pitched, only 2 earned runs. At least 6 1/3 innings pitched in those 4 games, compared to only reaching that mark twice in his first 6 starts.
Early on the year, I was being a rat, not getting ahead of guys, and therefore they could hit my stuff. Just living down the zone. Coach Teagues and I have been working a lot about really getting downhill through the baseball and letting my ball sink and run, and guys can't get good swings off me. And just getting ground balls, and if I get deep in counts, using my changeup and my slider to finish them off.
Now, not to take away from the guys who earned the 3 wins this weekend, but the true MVPs look no further than Dennis Dart, Matt Bull, and the grounds crew at Bob Warren Field.
I just told our club as they're walking out here today to make sure they shake the hands of our folks and facilities that work so hard to get this in. When I walked out here this morning and looked at this outfield, we had an inch of standing water everywhere, and in some cases puddles all over the place, and weren't real sure we were going to get a play, but man, they really put some time in between noon and 3 o'clock, and hats off to them.
Sycamores not only beat the Braves, they were able to edge out the weather as well. That's a solid weekend. Reporting from Bob Warren Field for GoSycamores.com, I'm Luke Martin.